Hi, hello, my name is Sabina, and as it was mentioned, I am not an IT person. So today I'm not going to present technological case. I will focus on motivation in DevOps and on how we phased out the motivational system. We really got rid of it. I prepared this presentation mainly for those who are seeking some kind of inspirations on how to motivate in demanding DevOps culture. But for sure, we are all interested in motivational systems, in bonuses, in money. And because of that, I hope that you will all find something interesting, especially for you, something useful. For example, that money is not always welcome. I will say a few words about DreamLab, so to close up its history and also challenges. We are a tech company functioning on a media market. We are a part of a bigger group called Ringier Springer. Who have heard of us? Okay, a few people. I thought it would be even worse. Okay, but I bet that every one of you have used our services, or even use nowadays, as we are famous for such brands as Onet, VOD, Newsweek, Fact, Autoświat, Business Insider, just to name a few. We create solutions that impact the way people use the internet, and nowadays we impact over 23 million users from Central and Eastern Europe, mainly in Poland. But what is most important, our employees, our team. There are over 300 DevOps specialists at the moment. As I told you, it won't be a technological case, so let me just reveal one piece of statistic on deployment rate. There are over 800 deployments daily, so it means that we deploy to production even more often than every 2 minutes. Just to give you a comparison, Amazon, that is called a technological leader in DevOps, does it every 11.6 seconds. So we are still not so bad. We are proud to call ourselves a DevOps organization. However, Rome wasn't built in a day. And as it was mentioned yesterday, while crafting any organizational solutions, we need to consider the situation of the company. Its present, but also its history. So a quick overview. We started with waterfall, and I mean by that a process model in software development. We rewarded then our employees for, or mainly our individuals, for timely completing the project. We believe that this reward was necessary to motivate employees who not necessarily always have impact on the way how they were working, and also whose work was sometimes wasted. That was the reality then, unfortunately. Our second step on the development was embracement of an agile approach. Thanks to that, we became faster in responding to our clients' needs. We got rid of useless bureaucracy, and finally, we were able to engage our employees in why, how, and also what they were doing. We changed also a little bit our motivational system, and we rewarded quarterly for achieving team goals and also for doing it in a desired manner. And going further into Agile, finally we used the occasion to adopt a DevOps approach. I will go into much detail later on how we transform our culture. Here is essential to mention that we implemented a few practices typical of DevOps, but unfortunately our motivational system stayed the same, and because of that became irrelevant. Our employees regarded it as punitive and slow. Why so? First of all, punitive, because incomplete payments of expected bonuses were treated like punishment, not reward anymore, and slow, because our bonus system forced us to set goals quarterly, and not always when we needed that. And why it is so important, why I'm saying about this motivational system again and again, It is well described by the quote from State of DevOps report from 2015. Incentive structures affect how team members process and share information, cooperate and collaborate. It seems as our motivational system was resembling more this model of carrot and sticks. Probably you've heard about them, yes? We are rewarding for some desired action, good ones, and punish for the bad ones. And unfortunately, we discovered that our employees were sometimes even afraid to lose their bonuses, and they hide some mistakes from us in fear of losing the bonus of theirs and also their colleagues. It's high time to ask a question: what kind of culture is desired in DevOps organization? And again, why is it so important? So let me answer with the words of Ruben Wilzenek. Even with the best tools, DevOps is just another buzzword if we don't have the right culture. And the right means supporting development and operations collaboration. According to Wilzenek, shared responsibility can be achieved through no silos between development and operations, autonomous teams, ensuring constant feedback, monitoring, automating tests, configuration, deployments, and also building quality into development process. And what kind of practices did we implement in Dream Lab almost 3 years ago? First of all, we collocated development and operations specialists, and after some time they become DevOps teams. We even went further and created DevOps roles. There were specialists capable both as developers and system administrators. Secondly, we started supporting blameless culture by implementing blameless postmortems. And thanks to that, we focused more on finding solutions to the problems and not repeating them again. Thirdly, we monitor all relevant data regarding our systems, but also business parameters. We believe that improvement demands feedback between specialists. So we facilitated by retrospectives, and I mean, those rituals from Scrum, and also squad health check model that we learned from Spotify. Probably you have heard about that. It is really a nice way of measuring and also visualizing areas for improvement for each team. And fifthly, we implemented continuous delivery to build quality into development process. Okay. And as I told you, those practices were implemented almost 3 years ago, but unfortunately our motivational system stayed the same and became irrelevant. So we faced ourselves with creating a new one a few months ago. We invited our employees, and you can see some of them in those pictures. We conducted this project through the series of workshops. We proceeded them with the presentation of expectations from our board of directors and also best practices from other companies. And as I have the background in psychology, I also presented our employees with modern concepts and research results on motivation. And talking about psychology, if I could recommend you any concept on motivation, it would be nothing but self-determination theory of two authors, Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. Seriously, it is the best theory of motivation, including work. You can learn a lot from that, even how to behave your children. It was popularized by Daniel Pink and is well known as Motivation 3.0 or Drive. Okay, so in a nutshell, think of yourself at work. What satisfies you and also what makes you frustrated. For sure, you will mention money, but if those authors are right, you will also think of some things that makes you realize your basic needs. And basic needs are autonomy, competence, relatedness, and purpose. So, autonomy manifests itself in being an initiator of your own behavior, in having a freedom of choice. Competence is a mastery in things important to ourselves. Relatedness is a need for being a part of a bigger group, being cared for. And finally, purpose. It's just doing things important to ourselves, but also to others. And what those authors are also saying, it's the realization of those basic needs demands the conditions if we are going to be motivated in an autonomous way or controlled one. In other words, if we are going to do things because we find them interesting and important, or just because we are forced to do that, forced by some kind of outer reasons, for example, money, bonuses, or inner, such as pressure towards work, which is most typical for workaholics. Needless to say that in DevOps culture, we all should strive to be autonomously motivated. So in my opinion, this concept encourages us to create an environment prompting the realization of basic needs. In other words, or putting it even simpler, it is finally that concept that allows us to treat people like adults, not children anymore. And it is consistent with words of Dennis Bucky. If you treat people like adults, they will act like adults. But if you treat them like children, they will act like children. So think again about yourself at work. And if you are treated really like adults or unfortunately like children. On the next slide, you will see the results of our project. They were all created by our employees. So first of all, why do we need that change? And here is what the employees answered. We want to work in a place which we have a real impact on. Because our engagement is the most important condition of the company's success. And how do we want to achieve that? We need some changes that would help us to experiment and take risks. And it is in accordance with DevOps culture. We need to make sure that our work brings value, again, in accordance with DevOps culture. We want to build strong teams based on mutual cooperation, again. And we want to enable the development of leaders. And we meant by that mainly those natural leaders, not necessarily those appointed ones. So it was more like we are the boss, yes, we can influence our environment. And finally, what have we done to achieve that? First of all, we empowered all employees to have an impact on the shape of the changes in the organization. We even used the motto, or introduced the motto, like imagine a place where you would like to work and start to create it. Simple as that, but easier said than done. So to facilitate that kind of change, we named a teams of ideas that we divided into 3 areas. So first of all, we popularized some kind of concepts that were already working in our organization, at least in some parts of them, and wanted other employees to familiarize with them and decide if they want to implement them in that shape or another. Secondly, we also suggested a few new ideas and again wanted employees to experiment with them. And thirdly, we got rid of the bonus system and we introduced some new basic game rules to achieve all that. Okay, so let me, it sounds everything, I hope, it sounds okay, but still probably you don't have any idea what changes really, or what ideas we implemented. So to give you a hint, I will go through them briefly. You will see just some of them under 5 categories that can be derived from self-determination theory and motivation 3.0. So first, remove money out of sight. It's a little bit controversial, don't you think? And I don't mean by that money is not important. I remember that today I talked to some of you, and we all agreed, money really matters. But what I'm trying to say is that we all need to remove money out of our concern. And the best possible way for doing that, and the most suggested, even in the literature, is to provide internal and external justice of salaries. Again, isn't said and done, but still, I can bet that we all hate to get to know that we are paid less than others who do exactly the same job. We also withdrew financial punishments, yes, so I mean by that our bonus system, and we established a reward for outstanding achievements. And we may ask, what's the difference between rewards and bonuses? It seems the same. Not necessarily. Bonuses are expected, and rewards shouldn't be. They should be just a nice surprise for one employee. And to exemplify what's exactly the difference between those two and how sometimes money can spoil our fun and make it look like work, I will tell you a short story. There was a group of children. They were making fun of an old man. He was irritated by the fact, and one day decided to stop it. He asked the children to make fun of him again in the most cruel way, and that he would pay them for that $1. They agreed willingly, prepared thoroughly for this task, and did it. It was really, really cruel. The next day, he promised them 50 cents for doing exactly the same. They were a little bit surprised, but still did that. And the third day, when he promised them just 2 cents, they thought it's not enough profitable for them, and they stopped, and he never seen them again. 2, ensure autonomy. We popularized FedEx meetings in our organization. FedEx meetings are shorter and easier to conduct hackathons that allows teams and gives them autonomy in choosing topics on which they are working, and also the freedom of coursework. We wanted them to secure time, our employees, we wanted them to secure time for development and processes tasks, not only those resulting from backlog. And we also got rid of objectives with quarterly deadlines. We still have goals, but set for some adequate scope of time. 3, ensure purpose. We organize demo days. There are cyclical meetings during which our teams present the results of their work, and we all can celebrate. It's a great opportunity to talk about technical aspects, but also business value of their efforts. We also encourage our business coworkers to create and present us the roadmap of related products so that we can understand the bigger picture of our work. And we also ask them about some financial results so we can understand how our work affects the business side. 4, ensure mastery. We practice recognition of others' work, and the most prominent solution is granting kudos. Those are nice notes. For example, you can see some of them in this picture. Nice notes that can be given to everyone we would like to congratulate on, thanks, or just appreciate for good work. We also support the culture of open feedback. Our managers meet their subordinates regularly, at least once per quarter, and talk to them about their performance, about behaviors that moves them closer or away from a desired environment, and also they settle development plans. Managers also encourage employees to give them feedback on their actions. And we are introducing at the moment workshops on the merits of the feedback. so that everyone will understand why feedback is really so important and how to do it correctly. 5, the last but not least, ensure relatedness. We set team goals. Our employees are welcome to create guilds, a group interested in one topic, for example, Python, Agile, tests as well. And those groups are sharing their experience and also sometimes setting some standards. We have an integration budget and also encourage employees to celebrate their successes. And what's next? Believing the words of State of DevOps reports, their conclusions, we are on the right track, as the conclusions goes as follows. The best thing you can do for your products, your company, and your people is institute a culture of experimentation and learning. Regardless of that assurance, we still need to measure our improvement. We need to make sure that our practices help us transform our culture into a right way to increase employee engagement and also realize the basic needs. And let me finish with the motto we wanted all of our employees to follow. Dreams don't work unless you do. So the change needs to start from us, from the employees. And what the organizations can do is to create an environment enabling us to staying autonomously motivated, to realize our basic needs. And I hope you will all find your way of motivating in that demanding DevOps culture. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have time for questions. The first question.
Do you use Scrum teams?
Excuse me?
Do you use Scrum teams?
Yes.
And do you have ad hoc Scrum teams? So self-organizing? So
no. We've got product teams, so they still, work together on some settled, not necessarily project, but for sure products. And projects can change, but products stay the same.
Another question from the back.
Thank you. You presented a very nice way of changing the culture of your organization. And I'm wondering, because yesterday it was said that there's something like an entropy in those cultures. Like if you don't provide enough power to those changes, like they fade away with time. And the question is, how much effort do you put to maintaining this kind of culture?
That's really a great question, and it's really great challenge. As what I presented, it's just the results of the project we finished a few months ago. So now it's the time to measure if we really make the change we wanted, and also, yeah, exactly, we need to do this work to support that kind of culture. And I would say that our employees really see the need for that kind of change, and they are really doing that. It seems for us that we just removed, those obstacles for achieving that kind of culture. So we removed the problems, and we proposed to them some kind of concepts, ideas. They even by themselves propose them, and now it's the time to try them out. And of course, we still need some focus on, supporting also employees in experimenting and showing them results. So it's like a change. Just, I think that change management also could be adopted in this case.
Okay, thank you.
One more question.
Here's.
Oh, we have two questions.
From a talk that was held yesterday, we know that also the management has an influence for the DevOps culture. So during those classes, did you also include management in the
Yes, of course.
classes?
By employees, I mean all our employees. So there were representatives from different levels, from different departments, from different localizations, and also management. And that all was approved by board of directors, so I wanted to make sure that at the end no one will tell, like, you know, it's wasted work and you shouldn't do that.
So my question is, do you somehow measure the people's satisfactions with your changes, and how do they perceive the changes? Because my personal experience is that the HR roll out a new kind of system every year, and they find it so innovative and very useful, and you know, at the end of the day, you only end up looking what to put in the tool to make them happy.
Okay, I was trying to show you that, okay, maybe it won't, that I'm not that kind of person, yes, HR person. I really work closely with business, in this case with IT, and try to implement solutions that really are tailored to the needs of the organization. So it's not like, you know, a nice project that I can now talk about, but it needs to be really, really helpful to the employees and to the organization. I don't know if I answered the questions, and when it comes to satisfaction, we are at the moment more interested even in engagement, as there is, you know, some difference between those two terms. And engagement, it's also, you know, being satisfied with your work, but thanks to that, giving this extra effort in what you are doing. So that's why I, you know, put engagement and increase of engagement there.